I think we're live, you guys. I think we're live. Oh, let me change to my screen there. There we go. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 31st. It is the official end of Q1, and we're going to get things started here in just a second. I just need to pull up my stream, and then I'll be happy. What I'd like to do is set the stream up on my phone. That way I can watch it in real time. That way I know what's going on. Sometimes the second screen doesn't always give the best info. So good morning, everybody. What we're going to do, if this is your first time here, we cover off all the different segments of the market. So this is a crypto focused channel. We're going to look at all the different cryptos that are moving, but we're also going to be looking at silver, gold, oil, US stock market, Japanese bond market. The reason we do that is because we want to find out what is the overall picture that is going to be moving the markets forward. Right now, we've got a lot of conflict in the Middle East that is causing quite a lot of damage to multiple different market segments all at once. In my opinion, I think that things are just getting started, but we're going to break down that information. And then in the second half of the stream, we're going to go through my DeFi portfolio. I've done a little bit of tweaks offline since we streamed yesterday to try to clean up the spreadsheet a little bit. I think I came up with a pretty good solution. So basically what I'm doing with that, and by the way, tomorrow is going to be my next episode of the Flare mini-series. Every single day I'm tracking multiple different revenue streams for the Flare project. So I've got, I believe, 7 different income streams from Flare, and then there's 3 different income streams for XRP. As things progress, I'm more than happy to jump into new projects that come along. About to sneeze, by the way. Pollen's in the air, spring's officially here, so I might be a little congested today. Got some congestion here, might sneeze a few times. Otherwise, I'm feeling just fine. So just gonna keep that in mind as we go. We're going to screen share here, but I'm going to briefly say good morning to everybody. So good morning, Dynamod. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, Scorpio. And good morning, XD3. First day was good. It's usually, your first day of work's always easy. Setting up the laptop, making sure that you're getting all the user accesses you need. I'm expecting probably the first week be, it's kind of like syllabus week in college, You're there, but you're not really useful yet. So you're just kind of getting to know people and showing your presence. So happy to finally be back in the game. You guys know for 4 months I was unemployed. It happens, but officially, it's officially behind me. So that feels nice. Doesn't mean I won't be able to claim any more unemployment, but I think I can live with that. For the first time since November, I'll be buying crypto with paycheck money and not unemployment checks. I have a very, very high risk tolerance, so some of the stuff that I do might be a for most people, but I made it work, and no worse for wear. So jumping in. The market hasn't changed too much in the past 24 hours, although there are some pretty interesting things we're going to be looking at in a little bit. By the way, thanks, Justin, for joining the army. The Andrews army, that is, not the one that's about to go to Iran. Fear and greed sitting at 26, so I believe it was a little higher yesterday. It might have been like 27 or 28. This isn't... this 1 point in a day is not too big of a change, so nothing's really changed here. All this tells me, if you don't know the fear and greed index, it basically it has a bunch of different market indicators which you can drill into, by the way, using these little arrow keys. There's, I think, just 20 different things that they measure to come up with this, but basically what it is the market sentiment. So when people are fearful, they're not buying. In fact, when people are fearful, they're usually selling. And then when people are greedy, that's when they're buying. And, we basically want to do the inverse of this chart. So the more fear in the market, the more you want to be buying. The more greed in the market, the more you want to at least be taking your foot off the gas. I'm not someone that likes to micromanage my portfolio. So when I buy something, I plan on holding it for really either a very long time or indefinitely. I still own Nvidia after all these years. Still have Amazon. Um, I have sold some of my stocks that were blunders. I sold Snapchat. So I'm not like married to the idea that you have to hold everything permanently, but in general, if I'm going to exit a position, it's because I no longer believe in that company or that project. So in general, I don't really micromanage. When we see a market go back into the greed zone, instead of buying crypto, maybe I'll go get a nice steak dinner. That's kind of the perspective I have on that. Bitcoin, not a lot has changed in the past 24 hours. No, I mean, it moves a little bit up and moved a little bit down, but if I spread this out to the 1 week, you actually see that since the 27th, Bitcoin's actually been pretty flat for the past 4 days. Nothing really ventured, nothing really gained here, although we are actually, sitting below 70,000. So, I mean, it is down. Went from 71 down to 65 in a very short order, but now it's hanging out in the 65 zone. I think we've got a little bit further down to go. It does look like Bitcoin's either going to close red for the month or it's going to be basically flat. If you've ever seen those box charts on like crypto, the Bitcoin ones are pretty easy to find. The Bitcoin monthly box chart. Let's see if I just pull it up real quick. Yeah, here we go. But I want the monthly one. Yeah. So we've officially got 6 red boxes here in a row. Now, we had October down 3.5. November, this was the bad month, down 17.5, and then it's been kind of like trickling down. I guess January and February were pretty bad too. Bitcoin has not historically had 6 bad months in a row, with barring one exception back in 2018 from August to January, it was down bad. Look what happened after that though. After January of 2019, Bitcoin would go up 11%, then 7%, then a whopping 34%, 52%, and 26% before tapering off a bit. You add all of these together and you're over 100% in growth. And you have to also understand these are compounding on each other. So, that 7% growth is on top of this figure here. And then the 35% growth is on top of that one. So it's not as cumulative. It's not like it's, 52% up from where it was in January. No, it's 52% up from where it was in April. So we are now in the zone for Bitcoin looking very reminiscent of 2019. Now, this doesn't mean that the market's going to magically recover soon. I just think somewhere maybe around June to September, I think that's when we're going to start seeing the recovery zone. And if we blow Bitcoin up a little bit, this kind of coincides with what I've been saying. You've got this U-shaped pattern from 2022 to 2025. I think that right now we're somewhere around this little zone. If you can see where my mouse is, I think we're going to go down a little bit further, but I don't think we're going down too much further. And this little zone right here could be 2 or 3 months worth of time. And then it's just going to blast off. If you look at this from January of 2023 all the way to October of 2025, Bitcoin basically just ripped. I mean, there were some pullbacks here and there, but they didn't last long. I think that we're approaching something similar. And so I'm expecting probably see the markets down maybe another month or two, and then kind of be flat for maybe 2 or 3 months after that. I would expect by around maybe July or August, I think that's when we're going to start seeing like a 2026 recovery run. We might really only be in the accumulation zone for 3 or 4 months. But I definitely think that we're going to be going a little bit lower before we've hit the true bottom. So for our favorite coins like XRP, which, by the way, this was 133 when I started the stream. Now it's already down to 131. Maybe that's not entirely Well, I thought it was at 133. Maybe it wasn't. Oh, you know what it is? Sometimes when I log in my computer in the morning, I have to refresh. So XRP sitting at 131. Well, I better update my chart real quick. We'll jump to this after we cover the market segment. So XRP sitting at 131. I think we're going to see XRP down to around the 120 range before too long. And so, you know, I'm keeping a close eye on this. I definitely think that 120 zone is going to be a huge consolidation zone, at least for me. It's getting close to the point where $1 could get you one token. I think that's pretty incredible. I don't know how long this will last, so I plan on buying very aggressively for about the next month or two. I'll share I'm going to need some time to get that first check in the mail, make sure I know exactly what my finances are going to look like. But I will definitely share a video with you guys breaking down what my buying strategy is going to be. It's going to be very aggressive. Some people might be kind of like, whoa, like this is some seriously aggressive stuff. But, you know, I've long believed that, you know, dollar cost averaging small amounts isn't actually going to do a whole lot for you. If you want to have meaningful impact when it comes to investing, you do have to put a pretty considerable amount of capital in. I think, you know, this is just going to be a broad statement, but I think that if you really want to take investing seriously, you need to have a minimum of 30,000 contributing principal per year if you want to get into some of these ranges that we want to be in, like multimillionaire. Retiring on $1 million in this age doesn't cut it. But having like 4 or 5 million in the bank, that does cut it. I think you're going to need to be contributing a minimum of 30,000 a year. If you can bump that up to 40 or maybe even 50, you're just going to get there faster. But if you're going slower than 30, I'm not sure you're going to get there in the timeline that you would like. And I'll talk more about that in a bit. So XRP sitting at 131. Hyperliquid, haven't bought any yet, but it's certainly going to be on my list. It's actually coming back down a little bit, which tells me this could be a good buy zone. I would say I'm not waiting for it to hit a certain price. I'm actually just waiting for payday. When I get payday, I'll be buying some Hyperliquid. I just don't know how much. But if Hyperliquid's back down to like $30, I would say that's in a very strong buy zone. Now, Hyperliquid's going to be, I think, a mainstay going forward. It seems that they were first to market with 24/7 stock trading. Excuse me, let me back that up, 24/5. I guess they still don't want us trading stocks on the weekends. Kind of interesting. I wonder why that is. You're at least going to be able to buy stocks through Hyperliquid. You know, you want to buy stocks at 3 in the morning, that's going to be an option, but not on the weekends. It's going to be weekdays only, so 24/5. Very interesting token. It's certainly on my watch list. I'm going to be watching this one as the month progresses. I do plan to at least buy a little bit for the first time within the next month. Now I got to clear my sinuses again. I think we did that yesterday. Kind of gross. Hopefully this little spring awakening doesn't last too long. I feel just fine, but super backed up. You guys know how it is. The pollen's in the air and you start sneezing like 30 times a day. It just is a sign that summer is coming. I don't know about you guys, but it's not that I hate winter, but it always just feels like it lasts too long. So Stellar at around 16 cents. I don't actively buy Stellar. I do look at it, but I don't actively buy it. I look at Stellar and XRP as kind of like buying the same token, which is a good thing for Stellar. That being said, I want to buy tokens that complement each other or do different things. And I'm not saying that Stellar and XRP do the same thing, but you have to admit Stellar is more like XRP than Bitensor or Hyperliquid is like XRP. And so I think XRP and Stellar are both going to do phenomenal. So for that reason, I don't really buy Stellar because I'm already buying XRP. I'd rather get exposure to some tokens that do things differently, like Hedera's H-bar, perfect example of this. Whoa. Oh man, my voice is cut out there. H-bar runs on the hash graph. It's not even a blockchain technology. To me, that alone is very cool. I mean, you got to keep an eye on H-bar. You definitely you don't want to miss out on emerging technology, and there's no one else doing what Hedera's H-bar or hash graph is doing. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick, just clear my sinuses. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. I can just tell this in there, and I think my voice will keep cracking if I don't take care of this. There we go. That was good. I'm pretty sure that worked. Sorry about that, guys. You know how it is. I had to. I don't want to be descriptive. I don't want to be gross, but I saw the evidence in the sink that my throat is now cleared. So, like I was saying, guys, H-bar, big buy. This is my number 3 coin. I'm definitely buying a ton of this. If your question was, are you buying XLM or are you buying H-bar? I'm buying H-bar because XLM and XRP, just a little bit too similar for my liking. I've made the analogy a few times now, but I look at crypto kind of like building a football team. You can win the Super Bowl with about 20 different running backs, but your team only needs to have 2. So I'd rather fill out other positions than overload on running backs. So it's like if XRP is a running back, you know, XDC and XLM, I guess even to some extent you could say Canton, you know, is a running back crypto. Let me get some wide receivers. Let me get some O-line. Let me get some tight ends. I got to get a kicker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at what options are out there that cover a market segment that my portfolio doesn't currently address. I think right now, Bitensor and Hyperliquid, 2 areas of the market that I don't currently have covered. So that's kind of why I want to expand into them. Canton, it's been going back down. This was a head-turning token. Launched around 14 cents, then went. This always happens, by the way. Every ICO goes down, but then it just sort of like ballooned up out of nowhere. A lot of people are talking about it. It seems like the Canton buzz has kind of died off a little bit. I'm not too optimistic about this one. I think it could be kind of like a crypto Trojan horse. Questions in the chat. I got a question from Fate Loves Irony. You don't think the Clarity Act is going to jump the price at all in this April? Well, the thing about the Clarity Act is it has to pass. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the Clarity Act has become the new social distancing, or the new Iran's got a nuke coming. It's like 2 weeks. 2 weeks to slow the spread. 2 weeks till Iran gets a nuclear weapon. 2 weeks until the Clarity Act passes. It's like, at this point in time, I'll believe it when I see it. And that's not me saying that it's not going to happen. It's just I don't know when it finally does happen. It just seems like if you follow the timeline of events for the Clarity Act, it theoretically could have passed as early as, I think, last September. So to see that from September to April 1st, we're still not any closer to the Clarity Act. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but at some point you just got to say, what's going on with this thing? Hopefully, well, I don't know if I want to say hopefully. I would only want it to pass if it's a good bill. If it's a bad bill, I don't want it to pass. And so the best we can do is just see what kind of markup they're making on it, which usually means we got to be listening to the insiders to know those things. If it takes a little longer, I'm not worried because the rest of the world doesn't necessarily need the United States in order to use crypto. It would help a lot, but Europe and Asia will probably move forward with crypto whether the United States is on board or not. Actually, the Clarity Act getting punted to 2028 would be it would be more damaging for the United States than it would be for crypto. So I would just keep that in mind. I mean, crypto is 100% the future, guys. There's no question about that. If the United States can't get on board and be reasonable, this could be a situation where the U.S. gets left behind. And I'd hate to say this, I'm not necessarily itching to like abandon the country. I don't want to say that, but if it gets to a point where I've got all this crypto, I can't use it in America, and it's mainstream adopted in other parts of the world, I could see, maybe becoming an expat at least for a little while. Because why wouldn't you? Why would you tolerate having all this valuable currency that you can't transact in your own country when you could go somewhere else and live like a king? So, I'm not worried. I mean, if the Clarity Act passes, great. If it doesn't, the crypto will find another way forward. Looking at Bitensor, still up 71% on the month. Now, the past 2 weeks for this one have kind of pulled back a little bit. Not too much, but certainly down from the 372 high that it had. So I'm waiting for this chart to catch up, but this chart says Bitensor is down 3% on the week. Really kind of misleading because we can see that on the week it started at 313. Well, it got all the way up to 372. So I think that this is a significant pullback, putting TAO right there in that really nice buy zone again. This is going to be officially part of my portfolio once I get that first paycheck, and I'm going to be adding it to my dollar cost average strategy. So it's not going to necessarily be, I'm not going to be too aggressive on this one, but I do want to open up my position on it and at least start building towards a token. There's only 21 million in circulation, very reminiscent of Bitcoin, by the way. Am I saying this is going to go up to 100,000? No, I'm not saying that. But this could very easily turn into a quadruple or even a 5-digit token over like the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe 100,000 is a little aggressive, but could you imagine buying Bitcoin when it was $300? You'd certainly say that that's on sale. So I'm looking at this. If it can even do 10% of what Bitcoin's done, that's still a 10x opportunity. And so I've got a keen eye set for Bitensor. Going to be scooping these up pretty soon. So working our way down the list, some other coins that are worth taking a look at. By the way, I know this is a little off topic, but if you're on coinmarketcap.com, the top 100 list has maybe, I want to say like 10 to 15 different stable coins in there. Any stable coin that's in here, I basically just breeze past it. I don't think we need 15 different stable coins. I think most of the stable coins are probably more at the top, by the way. But like you got your USDC, you've got your Tether. There's Athena. There's all these different stable coins in this list. You got PayPal USD. I try to just ignore those, to be honest with you guys. So really the top 100 list is kind of like a top 80 list. I've considered making a tier list video, but I don't know I don't know all of these chains. I only know like half of them. So that would be kind of like a hard video to make, because it'd be like, what do I say about a coin like Aptos I've never looked at before? You know what I mean? But I've definitely looked at Quant. Quant has been moving its way up the chain here. It's ranked at 59. I think it's only a matter of time before it crosses midnight and takes that 58 spot. Quant is already in my DCA buying strategy. At $70, if you're putting in $10 a day, you could buy a token a week. Not too bad. You could go a little more aggressive with that if you like. I think having probably 100 quant tokens is going to do very well for a lot of people in the long term, like 5 to 10 year future. This has even smaller total supply than Bitensor at only 14.88 million. Very specific number, shy of 15 million. The scarcity on this one, I think, could really catapult this price into even crazier ranges. Like, you got to think, Bitensor only has a supply of 21 million. Well, if Quant has, about 2/3 of that, just think of what that could mean for the price. I think that Quant's got some extreme upside to it. And just like Jason's saying in the chat here, Quant's showing signs of not being tied to Bitcoin. So, let me just duplicate this chart, and then I'm going to pull up Bitcoins. And if I just kind of pass between the two, let me make sure they're on the same, okay, they're both on the monthly charts here. If I just pass between the two, you can see that the charts don't look similar at all. That's what I like to see. This is, to me, this is how crypto should be. I'm going to go to the 1-year charts. Quant and Bitcoin, it's okay for the markets to move in a certain direction, but to have two coins having like identical charts bothers me. I like that Quant has been doing its own thing, and there's a few others that have been as well. Bitensor and Hyperliquid are also doing their own thing. I think decoupling from Bitcoin is necessary in order for this market to survive overall. I do have my opinions about Bitcoin. I don't currently buy it. I've read a really good book about this, by the way. It's called Hijacking Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a Frankenstein monster of what it was originally supposed to be. And in fact, it's so drastically different that its white paper isn't even relevant anymore. And it's indicative of the corruption or the hijacking that's taken place on it. I personally wouldn't buy Bitcoin knowing what I do know about it now. That being said, I still think it's going to go up in price, not because it's a great project, but because it has critical mass. And I hate to say it, but don't discredit the power of normies buying crypto. Anyone who's getting into crypto is buying Bitcoin first. I mean, even I did. When I first got crypto, the very first thing, even before I bought XRP, I bought Bitcoin and Doge because that's what Elon Musk was tweeting about. I discovered XRP very shortly after that, and I made the switch. It didn't take very long, but how many people out there are gonna turn on the morning news? Oh, Bitcoin's up. I'll buy some Bitcoin, and they don't know how it works whatsoever. And a lot of times they don't really care. They're just buying it because it's the new thing. I'm about to sneeze again. We're about to get 5 days consecutive rain here, so I think my sneezing is probably going to accelerate as the week goes, but the reward for that is that we'll have summer. So all things happen for a reason. Flare has really been consistently down since October. I mean, you look at this October chart, I mean, it really hasn't even gotten a bump. I'm super bullish on this, guys. I'm pretty sure that Flare is going to be going down to probably 0.7 of a penny pretty shortly here. So I'm expecting this to continue moving down. That doesn't worry me one bit. I don't know where the bottom's at, so I'm just trying to buy Flare as frequently as I can, because this to me is just too good of an opportunity to pass up. A lot of cool things going on with Flare. We should be getting the Firelight Phase 2 pretty soon. It's just wild to me that there's so much going on with Flare in comparison to other networks that, like, Flare's very active on social media. They're making announcements almost on a weekly basis, and it's not been reflected in the price, like, literally at all. And I do think it's perplexing. I don't know the answer of why. I'm curious as to why, but I don't know the answer of why. All I can say is that of every crypto out there, including XRP, I'm looking at Flare thinking, in at least the short term, the growth potential here is extraordinary. It's never been lower. Well, I guess technically it got down to 7.6 like a couple days ago. It's never been lower than this little dot right here. On the 29th, it got to 7.6. Yeah, almost to the exact decimal there. Never been lower than that, you guys. This is something I'm like, I can't miss this opportunity. So I'm very, very aggressively buying this. Even when I shouldn't have been buying anything these past couple of weeks, I was still buying a lot of Flare. As you guys know, I also have my Flare spreadsheet, and we'll dive into this pretty soon. But I'm looking at this, guys. I can't pass up these prices, and so I'm very aggressively buying Flare. I think it's not unreasonable that someone could pick up 1 million Flare in pretty short order. If we get down to 0.7 or 0.007, it'll only take you 7,000 USD to get 1 million Flare. That's basically like a Roth IRA. Except unlike a Roth IRA, well, technically you could buy Flare in a Roth IRA, but I wouldn't do that because you won't have self-custody, and you want to get advantage of these yielding opportunities. So unlike a Roth IRA, you can get some crazy yield out of your Flare tokens. You just got to have the wallets. We'll cover some of the DeFi stuff here in a second. I'm going to address Husker's chat, and then we're going to jump into the other market segments. So we're going to look at silver and gold next. So Husker says, personal feelings toward Bitcoin should be excluded. Look at what the world is doing with Bitcoin. It's not going anywhere. States are setting up Bitcoin reserves. Yeah, I get all that. It's not my personal feelings that the Bitcoin is, without an argument, been changed since its original design. So I still think it's going to go up, but I don't think it's a great investment at this point, even if everybody else still buys it. I think it will. I think it'll continue doing well despite itself, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not a good project anymore. Steph says, always wondered why in the stocks the whole sector is down, even if some companies doing great. Then crypto, if beta test coin is down, everything is down. Things should go up on their own merit. I think a lot of it has to do with trading algorithms, and it's only going to get worse with AI agents. You know, these AI agents can trade at inhuman speeds. When I say inhuman, I mean like millisecond trades, and they could bounce money back and forth like crazy. So I think, unfortunately, what we're looking at right now in the overall crypto market probably is indicative of a lot of AI agent trading, which hasn't hit the stock market yet because AI agents, mostly have to trade in crypto right now, which is a good sign for how usable crypto is. But then the downside is that, these trading bots can tank Bitcoin and then tank the rest of the market. I don't think a lot of this movement is organic. I just have to hope that at some point when we start to have institutional inflows, that just the dollar value moving into crypto is what moves it along. The market cap right now is 2.3 trillion. I believe over the next decade, this is easily going to go to 100 trillion. So I think like when you get 100 trillion inflows into this market cap, all rising tides will raise all these ships. I think XRP's ship will rise the most, but that's just what we believe here on this channel. But everything's going to go up, and the AI agents are going to be trading all this stuff, and then there'll be gas fees, and those of us that are staking and delegating, we're going to get a little bit of reward from that, especially through Flare. I think the AI agent stuff is going to revolutionize the trading industry. And then when Hyperliquid's got stocks being traded now, so you'll have AI trading your stocks here in pretty short order if they're not already. So I think AI agents are here to stay. I think it's going to make a very big difference in the trading world altogether. And I think it's for those of us that are early adopters of this, I think it's a good thing. If you're holding the right asset, you can collect emissions, and that could be its own wealth generating stream. And we'll get into that in just a second. I just want to jump real quick to silver and gold, because silver and gold are actually up pretty decent amount too, up 1.5% in the past day for gold. Silver's up even a little bit more. Silver's up 4% in the past day. Now I'm warming up to the idea of buying some silver. I'll probably buy at least a little bit of it sometime this summer. I'm going to be gearing up for this. I was expecting silver and gold to actually like really perform well in the month of March. So I was actually very surprised to see when it did not. Let's see what's in store for April. I still think the COMEX is going to eventually have to address their supply issue. And I think when that eventually rears its ugly head, could see silver very aggressively move to the upside, much beyond the all-time high we saw back in January. I mean, you could see a $200 silver real fast if those market orders at the COMEX are set for delivery and they don't have the silver on hand to deliver. I'll be honest with you guys, I thought that was going to happen. It didn't happen. I don't really have an explanation for why. But yeah, I was actually surprised that sorry if my head's blocking the chart here. I was actually surprised to see silver and gold go down this month. So let's just see what happens in April. All of that is still in play. JP10Y sitting at around 2.35. This is a slight pullback from what we saw late last week. So, just looking at this moving 5-day chart, it jumps up, I believe the 26th was a Thursday. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so Thursday, this thing just sorry for swearing there. This thing just blows up out of nowhere, right? So it goes from 2.7 all the way up to 2.38. That's a pretty significant jump. Now it's just sort of, it's pulling back a tiny amount, not a whole lot, but 2.35 is still pretty up there as far as the bond market's concerned. I've got my sights. I'm thinking 2.5 by June. I think that's reasonable. I think we'll see 2.5 by June. And then, of course, oil. Oil has been crazy, you guys. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, what are we doing here? In the span of from 3 in the morning, or no, let's see what it was. Yeah, from, what was this, 3 in the morning to, well, these clocks are weird. These clocks down here are not my time zone. So it looks like, at least in the past 8 hours, we'll just have to go with that. In the past 8 hours, I mean, what's really going on here? This almost looks like almost like a heartbeat monitor. It's jumping up from 17 to 18 in like minutes. Over and over and over. I don't know what to make of this. I've never seen a chart do this before. You guys let me know if you guys have ever seen a chart do that. But this is weird stuff. Oil shooting like 5% swings minute by minute over and over for the past like 8 hours. Who knows where it right now? It's at 17,800. it could be back down to 17,000 in the next few minutes if this thing keeps up. So don't really know what to make of this as of right now, but in general, we broke above 18,000 and hung out there for quite a while. In fact, even got up to 18,200 yesterday before. I don't even know what to call this. This is weird. Talk about market manipulation. Now, oddly enough, or interestingly enough, it doesn't seem like the US dollar markets have had the same patterns, unless maybe their charts just don't show it like that. But looking at Brent oil and USD, it's still at around 107, which is still very high. And then crude oil is at 103. So crude oil is catching up to Brent, which I think is interesting. Normally, crude is a few dollars behind Brent, but in general, it's not usually, the gap is not usually this close. Usually Brent is like, I want to say maybe like $10 above WTI. Well, that's closing in 103 against 107. So interesting to see that gap getting closed in. I still think, all bets are off as far as having like a good profitable summer. I think that oil is about to get slammed in a real bad way. When we see the Asian markets run low on reserves, because right now everybody's running on reserves, even here, I think we're running on oil that's already been refined, a couple months old even. When that runs low, I think that this is going to be like a volatility. This is going to grow like a meme coin. It's going to be kind of scary to see, actually. I don't know how this story ends. I just can't see it being a good thing. And by the way, this chart is just so weird looking. But you look at let's look at a 1 month moving average of Brent. Oil should not be moving like this. And if we look at the 90, or let's look at 6 months. The 6 month chart here is pretty telling. I think we've still got a long ways to go. Like, if this chart could keep going, I think it's going to do that. Like, if you can see what my mouse is doing there. We could be seeing a 30,000 yen barrel of oil in very short order once those reserves run low. And I don't think the Strait of Hormuz is getting opened up anytime soon. Even if you were to open it up, some of the refineries that have been hit are disabled. So the oil that was coming out of those is not going to be getting put on boats, even if even if the oil market, or even if the Strait of Hormuz opens back up, the refineries are still blown to pieces. You can't just, it's not like putting your Legos back together. You can't just put things back together in real world like that. It's going to take years probably to rebuild those oil refineries and get the logistics back together. Getting a little congested again. Let me see if I can just take care of this real quick. There we go. Sorry if that's a little gross. Trying my best to clear out the sinuses off the microphone. U.S. stock market, it has been open for about 15 minutes now. It does seem like it's actually green this morning. So stock market opens to a 1.3% rally here in the past 15 minutes. We'll see how that continues. The overall trend has actually been to the downside. Very far away. By the way, let me switch the full charts in view. We're a long ways away from Pam Bondi's $7,000 S&P 500, down to 6,400. I expect to see, I think we're going back into the fives before you know it. So keep a close eye on this. The stock market was pretty consistent for the past year. And now I think we're going to start to see it move back down. We could be looking at what is the beginning of the next recession. And I guess if you look at these charts, I guess in a weird way you could kind of say that we're due. But again, none of this is really organic. I think that the war is not going to come to an end anytime soon. So Stock market will probably continue going down. Oil will probably continue going up. I just can't get over, you guys, how goofy looking this chart is. Like, what is going on here? But anyways, let's move over to Flare, because I want to talk about this a little bit. We got about 15 minutes before I got to wrap. So I logged all my stuff this morning. That way we can talk about things a lot faster. I moved things around a little bit. So my Kinetic Flare and my Mystic rewards, I claimed them yesterday, added them together. I've got 1,137 RFL are claimed. And then you can see I've brought these numbers back down. So Mystic's down to 69 and Kinetic is down to 54. And so I'll keep a track of their daily values again until it's time to claim them. And then we'll do the same thing. I got this new column K. I'll put whatever the balance is in the column K, and then, you know, we'll have to wipe the slate clean. It's not the perfect way that I wanted to do this, but I feel like it's kind of my only option if I want to keep this thing consistent. Because I did end up claiming the Mystic. Now that it's been claimed, there's really no turning back on that. Now this is a little weird. This is real weird looking because I claimed 800. So why is it telling me that I've got 560 still? I don't understand this. So I'm now gonna have to come in here and log the pending. I feel like that's probably the best that we can do for now, since this value here does not appear to me to be correct. By the way, Mystic's APY back down to 3%. I'm not too happy with the way this has been performing, and that's okay. I mean, we're here to pioneer a new platform, a new system. Maybe this one will improve later, but I'm looking at 3% and I'm thinking that's not really enough for what we're trying to do here. Kinetic has a little bit better ratios, but Kinetic you can also, you know, get a nice solid 10.5% or really 10.25% on your Flare. Oh, even the FXRP one's gone down. So FXRP on Kinetic is down to 2%. I really want FXRP to succeed, you guys. I really, really do. But yeah, at some point you got to say, we need some better ratios on this. It's still new. It's still new, but RFLR can't be the only distribution award. If we have to, we have to look at this objectively. That's it's a little concerning that there hasn't been much supply APY on any of these platforms yet. But let's just see how things pan out. Firelight, I'm looking at my Firelight right now. I just crossed over here. I'm up to nearly 2 million points, getting there. I've got 1,000 FXRP in Firelight. Let's just see what happens when Phase 2 goes live later this month. I've been asking for a launch date. I haven't gotten one yet. I'm sure we'll cover it on the stream as soon as we know. Let me catch up a little bit on the chats here. So Britain asks about what about Bitcoin Cash? Bitcoin Cash, I think, is actually more in line with the original vision for Bitcoin. I know it's on here somewhere. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash. So this is more in line with the original vision for Bitcoin. So I think that's fine. But I don't really hear people talking about it. It doesn't seem to get a lot of news. But definitely the guy who wrote the book Hijacking Bitcoin loves Bitcoin Cash. Personally, I'd rather go with XRP, but as far as actually using Bitcoin, you'd be using Bitcoin Cash, not the actual main core Bitcoin. So interesting things there. Um, Husker says, don't forget, crypto will get incorporated once real world assets are tokenized. Eventually, we'll be in that 100 to 200 trillion range. 100% agree with that. If you guys think about every house and every building that's out there, I don't even know how many like, buildings there are in the world, but there's got to be over 1 billion houses, right? Like you just kind of think about logically, like, okay, there's like 8 billion people. Yeah, some people live in apartments, but then you got like 7-Elevens and gas stations and office buildings and, you know, gyms and sports complexes. There's got to be over 1 billion structures in the world. You get them all tokenized. I mean, dude, I don't even know how. I don't know where this number could end up. It could be in the quadrillions, actually. Like we're at 2.3 trillion right now. This could get to a quadrillion. You start to add in the real estate value, not just of North American or like United States property, but think about like China and Russia and we'll stay away from the Middle East for now. But think of all the different countries out there that have assets that could be put on chain, and I think there's a lot of runway for a lot of extreme growth here. So White in Vermont is asking, how do I like Anchor? I've been very, very happy with Anchor so far. So I did claim an epoch today, 51.42. They've been very consistent. So for whatever reason, we started this experiment off. The first 2 epochs were like non-existent. It's been great ever since. I've got no complaints. I'd probably use Anchor as my primary staker once this experiment's over. So once this is done in August, I'll take all the stuff I've got here. I'll prove that we can withdraw from all of these different platforms, and then I'll probably move those tokens to my normal wallet, the one that like I haven't shared on YouTube, and probably stick them all into Anchor, since Anchor seems to be doing the best. The one exception I might make to that is Scepter. And here's why. I haven't done anything yet, but I'm playing around with this idea. I'm trying to make sure I know what I'm doing before I do it. But on Scepter, you're already getting 12.23%. This is a moving. It's not static. It does move, but it oscillates between 11 and 13%. It's pretty good. You can go to earn and actually put your SFLR into things. I haven't done this part yet. But even, you know, Kinetic has an SFLR pool. And I want to see if I can find it on here. I don't know exactly where. Okay, cool. So here's the SFLR thing. I'd have to go and really figure this thing out, because I haven't done it yet. But it does look like there's a 2.3% APY on SFLR. So basically what you could do, you know, you get your 12% already from staking. So I'm getting this 12.2%. Then I can come onto here and I could kind of shop around and look for different things. I haven't tried SparkDex yet, but I could come in here with my SFLR. I basically could double dip. And I'm looking at that thinking like, oh, this could be, it feels like it might be a little complicated, but it might be worth learning, because double dipping on that, you could turn the 12% into like 16 or 17%. That could be a extreme force multiplier. Because I'm sorry about the congestion, it's killing me. Hope you guys don't mind. So, okay, here we go. I can actually already see I have this here. So I actually could just do this, but I want to research it first. I want to make sure what I'm doing here makes sense. Now it's saying here, this, let me go back to that. Net APY 10.25%. Okay, so that's just with the flare. Now, if I were to supply my SFLR, let's just see what happens if I hit max. Okay, so it's got a 0.5 distribution APY, and then the supply APY is a little small. So it's not that crazy on Kinetic. But that's fine. I mean, it's still more than zero. I'm gonna do more research on it because I want to make sure if I'm gonna do it, I want to like really know what I'm doing. But there is, I guess right now, if I had to say where am I putting my Flare tokens, I'm either gonna stake them directly with Anchor, or I'm gonna put them in Scepter. The nice thing about Scepter, it's set it and forget it. Once your tokens are in, you don't have to look at it every week. You could, I got 50,000 in here, right? I could throw this in and walk away for 2 years, come back, and this figure is going to be much bigger. With staking, you do have to at least come in and claim your rewards. If you don't claim after 90 days, they go back into the pool. So that's something to keep in mind. If you don't want to micromanage your data, you're probably better off actually getting into Scepter. If you don't mind micromanaging, I think you can get slightly ahead by staking. I think with Anchor, I'm getting slightly ahead than Scepter, but probably not by too much. The Scepter is actually looking like a pretty good deal here. The only thing I don't know is, and I don't have a good answer for this right now, what is the tax implications? Because it seems like turning Flare into SFLR, I feel like that's going to be taxed as a swap. I don't know, but I have this sleeking suspicion that that's what would happen. So just kind of keep that in mind, that this could be a taxable event, whereas staking on the Flare network itself is not. Now, here's something cool I want to show everyone, because I think this is going to matter considerably come tax season next year. So if it's tax time and you want to know, okay, I've got this wallet and I've done a trillion different things with it, and how am I going to track all this? If I go to the Flare network, I'm on main account, I can click this button here that says view transactions. This is going to take me to the actual Explorer page for the Flare network. I'm going to see all the transactions I've got here. I can click on Transactions tab. Now there should be a button somewhere around here that says Download CSV. Yeah, here it is. So if I download a CSV from, let's just say I'm doing my taxes next year, so we'll go from January 1st to now. I download this. Let's open it up. There we go. Come on, dude. Oh, come on, dude. Are you serious? I don't have Excel on this computer. Okay, cool. So here it is. You know, this is everything that's happened on this wallet. For tax purposes, what we'd want to do, probably expand these a little bit so that you can see what you're looking at. Okay, so that's my wallet. Basically, I want to see where's the value amounts. Oh, here we go, value. No, that doesn't look right. That does not look right. Oh, jeez. We're going to have to figure this stuff out, guys, because one way or another, when it comes time to pay your taxes, the stuff's going to come up. So what is 5, like all these crazy 5s? There's no way that that's right. Okay, so we have an 11.2 here. Let's see if we can't figure this thing out, because we're gonna have to know it one way or another. So it looks like there's got to be a better way of representing this. So I'm seeing right here, we got 11.2. I know that that was some kind of fee or something happened with the 11.2. I know that's factual. So I can see that there's an 11.2 here, but there's no decimal notation after the 11. There's got to be a better way of looking at this, because some of these are not 11. Like some of these are 50,000, you know. How am I going to track those in a meaningful way? There's got to be a better maybe there's coin balance history. Maybe this is what we want, but then I don't see the download button for this. Yeah, I hate to say it, guys, we're gonna have to keep track of this one way or another. This stuff's going to come back to bite us come tax time if we're not tracking this stuff. So trying to think of the best way to do. Maybe this is it. Let's see what this one looks like. So if we figure this out, then I can report back on it. So we'll go to January 1st, okay. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh, convert. There we go. Tokens transferred. Ah, there we go. This looks better. Okay, the decimal notations are a little wild here, but yeah, okay. I know these ones are 50,000, but they're showing up as like 5 million. That's going to be a problem. I guess we have time to figure this thing out. But for those of you watching, just keep in mind, maybe I'll ask the Flare folks on Twitter, hey, what's a good way to do this? Because I can't use in this current format. I can't use this. This data is not usable. Even if I know, like, sure, this is technically correct. Like maybe if you could change the token decimals from 18 to like 2 or something, I don't know. But in its current format, this isn't going to work for me. I'll have to figure out how to improve upon this. Well, at least this is a start. This is a start. So we will we'll work on this. This is a work in progress, you guys. We'll have to one thing you could do if you really had to, you could just highlight this whole thing and just copy and paste it into ChatGPT. That is one way you could, if it doesn't work the way we need it to. Like I don't need all these decimals. Anyways, we are at the hour, and I'm gonna have to get going here. One last comment before I close out from Cali Cat. If anyone is chasing yield with their SFLR, definitely check out Spectra. I also see that Enosys added lending and borrowing SFLR and STXRP. 500 lending minimum. I'm going to be getting into Spectra next, so that could be a good opportunity to kind of flesh that one out. For tax purposes, guys, I think as a closing comment, the best way I can think of to do this right now is kind of a pain, but just highlight literally the whole page, go in the chat GPT and ask it to make you its own spreadsheet, because the spreadsheet exports, unless maybe I just am doing something wrong and I'm not figuring it out properly, I feel like it's a problem that the raw data is not using decimal notations. I think that's not good, but we're gonna have to do this one way or another, so we'll figure it out. All right, guys, I got to get back to it, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Take care.